First, I'll go to you here, Ryan Wilson. As you take a look at this Arizona team, again, slow to start, but what did they do positive here on Sunday?
Yeah, BMAC is the Arizona Cardinals in the first half. He no-showed, and he'll be back just like Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury came back in the second half. And one of the most amazing things about this season, Joe, I can't believe I have to say this out loud, the first lead the Cardinals had in regulation came in the third quarter of this football game. It's hard to believe that's true. They're now 2-2. But I think, and we heard LaShawn McCoy make these comments earlier in the week, that maybe Kyler Murray's overhyped and not nearly as good as we think he is. He's the only reason this offense, when it does get going, goes. Now, there are plenty of questions to be asked about Cliff Kingsbury, his play calling, having his team prepared. He said after an early loss this season that they weren't prepared. Well, that's on you, the coach. And Kyler's being asked to do a whole lot. Mixed results, and that's just the reality of it, and it's not sustainable, I don't think. I think he was lucky to get help from his defense, especially the front four, who were after Baker all day, either in the backfield or knocking passes down. But I think you mentioned Hollywood Brown, his emergent, that draft day trade, appears to finally be working out. It would be nice to get some of his other playmakers back, which has been a concern. Lost some guys to injury along the offensive line, also a concern, but we're at the point of the season at the quarter-way mark here where injuries are going to be an issue for every team. But I think resilience is a word perhaps overused this time of year, but I think it's something to be said for the way Kyler hangs in there, keeps getting up off the mat and making plays down the stretch. Is Carolina good football? I think no, they're not. But it doesn't matter. The Cardinals found a way to win in the second half of that football game.
All right, so Ryan Wilson finds a positive in the win. It is not a Sunday without the two-time Super Bowl champ, so we say hello to Bryant McFadden. BMAC, as you take stock of this game, yes, it is a win. It is a road win by double digits, but Arizona's the only team in the NFL right now not to score any points in the first quarter yet this season. What does that tell you about this coaching staff, this quarterback, maybe some things on the not-so-positive side of what Arizona's doing?
Well, they're not prepared to start ball games off, and you have to put all the pressure and all the questions towards the head coach, the coaching staff, because it's their job to make sure the players are prepared. It's their job to have plays scripted offensively that they can get into a flow, that they can see some nice results. We haven't seen that so far this season, but luckily enough for them, their two wins came against teams that have been pretty bad, especially today in Carolina. Another slow start, but they were able to get things going in the second half and were able to prevail to come up with a huge win. So this was a great way to finish the ball game, but they have to find ways to put together complete games for 4 quarters, because when they play against better competition, they won't be as lucky as they were today.
Yeah, can't lay down in those first 15, and that's what Arizona has done thus far this year. On the Carolina side of things, just 51 offensive plays, guys, and it's exceedingly harder to score points when your offense is on the sideline, BMAC. What's been the biggest issue right now with Carolina? I know there's a lot of them out in front of them right now, but if you're tending to one thing, what's at the top of that list?
Baker Mayfield is not the guy.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield is not the guy. And one thing I say about football, when you don't have a quarterback, the field is 150 yards. It feels like you have to drive an extra 50. And Ryan talked about the job that Cardinals defense did against Baker. When they weren't pressuring him, when they weren't collapsing the pocket, guess what? They were knocking down footballs. They were knocking down passes. The passes were not even getting close to the wide receiver. So they did a great job in timing his throws to be able to deflect the passes. But the offense is not there. Christian McCaffrey is not looking like the Christian McCaffrey that we've seen in his career. Wide receivers, it seems like they're not creating separation, but they might not be in rhythm with the quarterback. So they have some issues offensively. And I can tell you this much. It's not, you don't want to put all the negative things on the quarterback, but Matt Rule got to answer to some of this as well. And it doesn't get any easier. When you look at their schedule, they got San Francisco, the Rams, and Tampa. That's the next 3 ball games coming up on their schedule. All 3 competitive teams. You know what I mean? So at some point in time, they got to start putting that dot on the head coach.
Absolutely, BMAC. And, I say it every week, sometimes I'm half joking, less so as we get through the season. Matt Rule probably wishes a college coaching job had come open for him to take so he could get away from what's going on in Carolina, which has been pretty much all bad during his tenure there. I would imagine owner David Tepper feels similarly, even though neither said it out loud. And you mentioned the wide receivers perhaps not getting open, and DJ Moore had to answer questions this week about not getting open enough, which is one of the requests from the coaching staff. And you've also pointed out, BMAC, that Baker has something to do with that. If a quarterback doesn't trust himself to see over the line of scrimmage and then get the ball past the defensive line, wide receivers don't have a chance. Doesn't matter how open they are. So there are a lot of moving parts to this offense. all of them appear not to be working right now. The defense is young and fast, and I think they're getting better in general. But offensively, there is no identity. As BMAC noted, Christian McCaffrey isn't the person he once was at the running back position, primarily because of injuries. And Baker doesn't appear to trust himself. And if your quarterback doesn't trust himself, you don't have a chance. This isn't going to be a situation where you can run the ball 50 times and rely on Christian McCaffrey to do the heavy lifting for you, because that's not the football that is played in today's NFL. So I don't know what the solution is. We're at the point in the season where you're not going to find guys off the street to help you. P.J. Walker perhaps is worth the look. Sam Darnold, imagine that. We're having that conversation. When he's healthy, it's probably worth the look. But I can guarantee you this, next year at this time, the quarterback is for the Panthers is not currently on this roster.
The refrain in Carolina goes, keep pounding, and it's just been pounding their head against the wall. We'll see how it all plays out. Gentlemen, great stuff, as always, as we take a look now at the fantasy fallout from this ball game. And I say fallout because there wasn't a whole lot to report, although Kyler does get you to 26. Christian McCaffrey with a late touchdown gets you north of that 20-point threshold as well. Marquise Brown having his best week both on field and on fantasy, 20 points for him as well. DJ Moore, been quiet, targeted 11 times, 6 receptions, 50 total yards. It's been a struggle to get anything going offensively for Carolina until they figure it out. All of those guys on Carolina's offense are going to be maybe starts, maybe sits.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.